Honourable Presiding Member, I think the opposition is making a lot of noise about nothing, as usual, about what's before the House today, which is basically two regulations under the Casino Business Regulation Act, number 17 of 2010, the regulations under the Colombo Port City Economic Commission, Act number 11 of 2021, supplementary sum, and the resolution under the Coconut Development Act number 46 of 1971. I think the member speaking before me, Honourable Sujit Pereira, also spoke of the wealth tax. And I too agree that I don't think the wealth tax is the most appropriate mechanism in trying to tax the people. But why is a wealth tax needed? We know that there is wealth being created. When we look around the country, we see that new houses, new buildings, and new institutions being put up daily. But when we really look at the tax income and when we have an analysis to see whether the people are paying taxes for these, we see that the people are not paying taxes. So if you are, for example, if you are building a 30 million or 40 million house, then you should have paid taxes at some time in your life or the other. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka, we have built a culture of not paying taxes. So I think a wealth tax is indeed needed, and I think it's a very fair tax because the first house or the house which you are living will not be taxed, but the other houses will be taxed. And as for the two regulations under the Casino Regulations Act, I think it's about time, a lot of members from the opposition, especially from the JVP and the NPP, we heard a former member of parliament come in and saying that, talking about the Arthika Ghatakaya, and I think Mr. Packer also was mentioned. Now, just because you own an economy, okay, maybe perhaps Mr. George Soros can be attributed as an Arthika Ghatakaya, but certainly just because you own a casino, Honourable Presiding Member, I don't think it makes you an Arthika Ghatakaya. So I think we need to stop this nonsense, and we need to understand that the casinos have a place in the economy, and particularly for the longest time, countries like Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew refused to have casinos. But his son later on took a conscious decision that economically it makes more sense for the Singapore, which is a wealthy country, also to have casinos. So what's wrong with Sri Lanka having casinos? We have 4 casinos operating in Sri Lanka, and we know the John Keells has invested $1 billion in the integrated project, City of Dreams. And who are we trying to market? We are trying to get the Indian customers. India doesn't have any casinos. We want to get the Indian tourists to come to Sri Lanka and through that to have economic growth. So I think the members of the opposition are getting a little bit wary and worried that the economy in the first quarter has grown at a 5.3% growth. And it is to be expected when we take these, it is to be expected that such economic growth will follow, because the President has been very mindful and taken the correct steps at the correct time. And I must say that no government wants to increase its taxes. Every government wishes that we can reduce the taxes, but we have to face the economic reality. And once the government increases its revenue to a certain extent, then we can certainly ease up on the taxes. But I don't think we have come to that point as of yet. And then also, Honourable Presiding Member, I think a member in the opposition also made reference to President spending money. What's wrong with that? And then he also made reference to saying that the members of Parliament have not been given adequate sums, our decentralized budgets. Yes, I know, but the President, we must understand, the President is part of the executive and is well within his right to spend money. And certainly when the country has recorded a 5.3% growth in the first quarter, I think a certain amount of money can be attributed to him in order to expedite development work. But we also must understand that the decentralized budget, I believe it was introduced by Dr. N.M. Pereira in the 1970s, it is necessarily not a part of the legislature. It is a part of the executive. Although every member in this House seems to have enjoyed that, we must understand it is not a part of the legislature. It is part of the executive. And if the honourable member makes the argument saying that the President is spending money, but the member also states that and pleads his case that the money, the decentralised budget should be given to members of parliament, which doesn't make sense. And the decentralised budget, I think this year was carried out in a very non-political way, if I may say. So, because the money did not go to members of parliament, but rather than that, it went to the AGA officers. So, rather first to the districts, and then from the districts, it was distributed to the AGA officers. And through the AGA officers, it was decided that what development works should be carried out. So, I certainly think that these measures which the President has taken has steadied the ship. So this is not the time, I think, we need to make false accusations saying that and have fear-mongering to the public and say that the policies taken by the President are doomed for failure. And as you know, Honourable Member, that I myself has been one of the members in the opposition during the last tenure, and we criticize the current President overwhelmingly. But we also need to appreciate that the measures which he has taken has bared fruit, and the country is well on its way to the economic growth. So, with regard to that, I think it is time that the opposition matures up and then joins with the government and everybody come together to determine what are the best policies for this country. Because I don't think that the people are going to accept. We are UMPs, we are SLFPs, we are SLPPs, or SJPs. We, the people, are quite sick of this party politics, Honourable Presiding Member. I know you and I work very well together in a bipartisan manner when it comes to certain issues pertaining to politics and certain issues pertaining to the House. And I see no reason why other MPs can't work in the same manner. I see no reason why the leader of the opposition, who has worked with the current president for the longest period of time, cannot work with him anymore. If Honourable Mahinda Rajapaksa can work with the current president, I see no reason why the Honourable Sajith Premadasa can't do that. So I think the time has come for us to put country before all else and work together to make sure that this country develops. And I am glad that the SJB accepts that at least on policy terms that the policies taken by the presidents are in the right direction. Okay, and unfortunately for our friends who are representing the NPP, I believe they still have a lot to learn. Perhaps in their visits to the United Kingdom and overseas, they will see how other
Honourable Member, 2 minutes more.
Perhaps in their visits to the United Kingdom and to other countries, perhaps they will see how other countries have developed. We cannot live in 1917 anymore, Honourable Presiding Member. We need to move with the times, and we need to bring policies which are in time, which are in line with the current practices. So I want to conclude my speech saying that the steps, although it might have been very harsh, are bearing fruits. And I believe that we have been able to because of the correct steps which have been undertaken, we have been able to develop some of the rural sector through the decentralized budget and budgets allocated by other means. And I am certain that with the 5.3% growth in the first quarter, the same momentum can be continued for the rest of the year. And I am optimistic that with the current policies which is being carried out by the President, that by the end of this year we will have an economic growth rate of more than 6%. Thank you.